When you think of outdoors people, you might think of
being a redneck.
Racist.
Hillbillies with shotguns.
Like an animal murderer, alcoholic,
I'm trashy.
Like a redneck, like rednecks or something like that.
Like a redneck or
I'm
something.
a dumb redneck.
I'm racist.
Like getting drunk on the ice. Or killer. I'd have a whole lot of teeth in your head. And
Do it with beer though. Wake up, put a dick in.
You might think we talk like this.
Get her. Gotta go get her. Gotta get those pheasants going around, you know. Just gotta stand there. Yeah. Walking through the forest. Yeah. Suddenly you see, burn! Boom! You get him? Got her. Got him. Got him. Get him. And that's pretty much how you hunt.
But is that actually the truth? Let's ask them and find out.
Yeah, sure. I'll take this one, John. Well, an outdoorsman to me is someone who likes enjoying going out into the woods, going out into the the swamps. Maybe do a little duck hunting, do a little hiking. Maybe you just want to go out in the boat. I mean, there's a bunch of different options you can do. But someone who just really likes to go out, depending on doesn't matter what season it is, you just like to go out there, have some fun, let loose, and relax.
Yeah, going off Matt said, I'd say an outdoorsman to me is somebody who just enjoys being out in nature more than they enjoy being inside.
Somebody who is a steward of the land, I would say. A conservationist. Somebody who enjoys nature, respects it, but also knows how to manage it, and be as responsible as they can in that respect.
Outdoors person is someone that lives a lifestyle of hobbies, dealing with stuff outdoors. And to me, it means a good time with family, it means a good time with friends, and it just means socializing with nature in general.
In my own words, being an outdoorsman is a lot of things. It's not only, it's outdoor recreation, it's, hunting, fishing, camping is what everyone thinks of. But it's just being out in the outdoors, not just, doing outdoor sports. It's just being active in the outdoors. Outdoorsmanship is not just, hunting, fishing, camping, but it's actually just being in the outdoors and enjoying the outdoors, maybe like going on a hike or something like that. So, although, people think of outdoorsmen as people who hunt and fish and camp, is much more than that, I would say.
I think a true outdoorsman is somebody who, just loves being outdoors, appreciates the little things in life, kind of getting away from all the bull crap, and just really, just thoroughly loves hunting and fishing, hiking. Outdoors can be really anything. But I guess when I think of outdoorsman, I think of a guy who loves bass fishing or hunting, for example. I really am into bass fishing. I like deer hunting. I like duck hunting. That really kind of defines it for me, I suppose.
I would describe an outdoors person as anyone who likes to do anything with hunting, fishing. They really enjoy being outside in nature, love fresh air, stuff like that. And what does it mean to me? Personally, I love nature, sunsets. I think nature's beautiful. I feel like people need to take more time, not look at their cell phones, and just enjoy the world.
Being an outdoorsman is really kind of your own thing. Everybody's different. There's certain niche things, certain people might like hunting, not like fishing. I think if you like being outdoors, enjoying yourself, enjoying, just the activities that involve outdoor things.
I would say that it entails a certain amount of respect for nature. You can't really go outside, love being outside, and then you're sitting out there and you're just throwing cans and chips and bags and littering and stuff like that. So I would say there's a certain mutual respect that outdoorsmen have for nature that goes with it.
Well, it entails responsibility with certain sports you get yourself into, but it also entails just living life more interestingly through nature. Going out and, you learn a lot from just being outdoors. You learn how to do things without specifically needing to use technology all the time, and it's a different lifestyle. It's something that you decide to live and you're not pushed into.
I think having a little bit of a wild side on you, you know, you're not just sitting inside on the couch playing Xbox all the time. You want to go out there and do something.
I think that being a part of being an outdoorsman is thinking about what you can do for the resource, not just taking it. So if that means shooting big mature deer and letting them grow, or not taking a limit when you're fishing and stuff like that.
I think the main thing that entails is responsibility. I think that keeping the environment, you know, in a good condition for future generations is really important, especially when it comes to, you know, hunting and fishing and camping. That's why we have the DNR. So I think the biggest part of being an outdoorsman is probably being responsible and keeping the environment in a good condition, so that you know, future generations can enjoy the same things that we have today.
I think it's an honor because a lot of great people in history. Teddy Roosevelt comes to mind for me, was a huge outdoorsman, and he believed that it was a fraternity of people, men and women, who, as I said before, are responsible stewards of the land and are respectful, and they love nature. And I guess to each person in that group, it means a lot.
It kind of knocks you down a few pegs. You know, you see a bear out there or something, you know, you're not the strongest, biggest, baddest thing out there.
Speak for yourself.
Well, I got into this group because of my family and because of my friends, so really I just value the relationship I've been able to build through the outdoors with people that I associate myself with.
The experience out of it, just the peace of mind, spending time in nature, it's just peaceful and relaxing.
The camaraderie, like, you know, you get your fishing buddies all together.
The time you get to spend with people outside that normally you wouldn't get that deep into a conversation or something like that if something else was going on.
Just the camaraderie is probably the best, because if you can identify another person who you would say is an outdoorsman, you can talk with them and you can strike up a connection immediately, and you can make a lot of good friendships out of it, and you can talk for hours about it with anybody.
Getting away from reality, I would say. You know, in my case, hunting is probably my top outdoor activity. Getting away from, you know, the college life and studying for a weekend, just to get out and sit out in the tree stand. You know, you get to think about a lot of stuff. And
That I'm trashy.
That I'm racist.
you know, I tell people that, you know, I go up north a lot and I like to hunt, and you know, they sometimes, like, people think of like hunters as maybe rednecks or something like that. But you know, in my case, I go to college just like every one of you guys, and I don't live up north. I don't do a lot of the things that maybe are associated with people who, you know, just, you know, live outside the city. I love to do a lot of things, you know, at college and stuff like that. So.
Well, coming from a suburb of Chicago, a lot of people, especially in my hometown, aren't used to people liking to go out for fun and fish and ice fish and shoot guns per se. So a lot of people call me stuff like a redneck like that, but I'm not like that at all. So I enjoy the outdoors, but I guess you can get negative stereotypes because of the way that people perceive you in the public eye.
I mean, sometimes the way I dress, like I have a Carhartt jacket and I'll wear boots because I don't mind if they get dirty and stuff like that. So some people look at you differently because you're not dressed up all the time. That's probably the only way that I've been outcasted. Also probably gun rights. I'm pro guns because you need them for hunting. Some people don't like guns, so that's some way that
People think you're like an animal murderer or killer, or that you're killing off the population when you're really doing stuff to help conserve it and regulate the population.
Not to piggyback off that, but I think a lot of people think that hunters are out there to shoot everything they can, or you know, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the number one conservationists are sportsmen and outdoorsmen, and every piece of ammunition, every gun, every fishing rod and reel and whatnot, all that has a tax on it that goes towards conservation. And the last thing anybody who is a outdoorsman wants to do is shoot the last deer, shoot the last pheasant, catch the last fish. That's the exact opposite of what you're trying to do out there.
People who are like outdoorsmen or like hunters or like maybe fishermen will wear certain articles of clothing, or they'll wear like camouflage, and people automatically think they're like a redneck or something like that, or they're like, I don't know, to go to an extreme, they'll think they're racist. I don't know, like, because maybe they think they're from the South, or I don't know.
Probably think I'm a dumb redneck, even though I'm really not. I just really like doing outdoors things, and you might get stereotyped as being like, you know, you might not have a whole lot of teeth in your head, and you are an alcoholic, like getting drunk on the ice, fishing, hunting, stuff like that. Which, I mean, I like to drink and all, but those are some of the stereotypes that might come with it. But overall, who cares what other people think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who will
Don't approve of
killing of animals and stuff like that.
I've been in the city before, and in kind of a very white collar, I guess you'd call it, bar, where everybody's dressed very like updated and buttoned up shirts, and I just kind of, you know, I'm a camo hat kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
Just kind of, I felt a little bit judged in that matter, but otherwise not really. I don't think there's too many negative connotations that come with being an outdoorsman, because it's more of a, I think it's overall a good thing.
I've never personally experienced that, but it's definitely something that I've heard. And, I mean, coming from Wisconsin, none of those things apply to me.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Biggest one being you get your cheapest form of meat, you know. If you're not going to go out there and hunt, if you don't want to do it, some big corporation, they're going to have some animal get slaughtered or something like that. You might as well save yourself the money, have a little fun doing it.
I do, yes. I would believe that just for food, I will not kill something that I'm not willing to eat. So every deer that I get, I harvest. I eat the meat. The fish that I catch, I'll either release them or eat them. So that's the particular reason that I do it, other than just enjoyment and being away from all the noise for a little bit, is for food, because you can eat very well and venison's very healthy for you.
Yeah, I think that hunting, I really do believe that it kind of helps control the population. I think overpopulation, if we didn't hunt, would become a problem in certain areas. Obviously, you know, in the northern areas of the state where there are less deer and, you know, maybe more predators like wolves and bear, and even just the winters in general. But down south, you know, areas with high deer densities, I feel like that is that keeps the numbers at a healthy rate, as well as when you participate in hunting or fishing, it also brings awareness to the, you know, the importance of keeping the outdoors clean and keeping it in a good condition for, like I said before, for future generations to enjoy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, it's just finally like being able to relax. That's really what. I love the competitive part of it, because it's like, you know, for fishing especially, it's like, okay, I got to catch this next fish. How am I going to do it? So you're constantly strategizing. So there's like a little internal competition, and then if you're fishing like a tournament, say, you know, you're fishing against other guys to compete. But really, I think the biggest thing is relaxation for me, just getting away. Like, that's how I truly relax, when I'm just sitting out there, just casting and enjoying company with other people who also like to do the same thing.
Yeah, it's like the old quote: you could give a man a fish and he can eat for a day, or you could teach a man how to fish and he can eat for a lifetime. So if you're just an outdoorsman, you can provide for yourself and others through the experiences that you've learned. And I don't know, I feel like that's one of the biggest benefits that being an outdoorsman has.
Absolutely.
Of course.
To yourself and to nature as a whole. to yourself. It's just, for me, it's relaxing, it's peaceful, and it's a good way to spend my time. And for the conservation of the wild, regulates the population. Without deer hunting, the deer populations would be out of control, and be deer getting hit by cars left and right. And
the people who are really on like the front lines of everything are hunters. I mean, that's how people and fishermen as well. That's how the DNR and all these state agencies get information, is based off of what hunters see in the woods. It's and not only that. I mean, with just people's mental health. I mean, people aren't meant to be inside all day and stare at screens. You know, we're just as much animals as anything else. You know, so it's good to get out there and just try to decompress and have a good time.
Yeah. Well, obviously because of the food you get from it, so physically and then mentally, being in nature, whether that's on a lake or in the woods, is its own healing experience.
I think there's a difference between big game trophy hunting and hunting to fill your freezer. But for some part, yeah.
Yeah.
Before and after.
Definitely. That was really, in particular, that was really interesting just because they made it seem as if this guy was just some rich guy who wanted to go out there and kill a big lion, which kind of was, but it didn't. It portrayed hunters in a negative light because they made it seem as if this was like the guy went into a zoo and shot, you know, the panda bear or something like that. This is a lion, a big mature lion that had bred a lot of lions, and you know, I mean, it's like anything else. It's okay to take a few if it's for the greater good. I mean, the amount of money you pay to go hunt on one of these safaris, $100,000, is like just to get your foot in the door, brings like 80% of the income to the people in those villages and whatnot. And if the lion population is stable, it doesn't really matter if you take a big mature lion. It's like anything else.
Well, I think the Cecil the Lion case is very, like, I feel like that's a unique case. But yeah, people portray all hunters to be that way, but they don't know the true laws of African wildlife hunting and poaching and stuff like that they need to know to be educated enough to judge people on that. However, because of the media and stuff, naturally we're portrayed in a negative light because of the political entails.
In that case, yes, because that is just for killing. He took the skin and left the meat, so that's just killing. There's no sports to that. In gun control would be the only other way I would see the media portraying hunters as bad, because they picture us as hillbillies with shotguns.
I think so. I think a lot of people, the media takes the worst cases you hear about, especially with hunting, because fishing maybe not so much, but with hunting you only see the bad things that happen on the media, like with everything else. And a lot of people that'll criticize it or try to attempt to criticize it don't really understand it or know anything about it. So I think the best way to eliminate that is to educate, and I think a lot of people do a really good job of doing that. But I just think that when it comes to the criticism, it's just because people don't understand.
Oh, to be honest, yeah, drink a beer, throwing a good old dip in, but
Yeah. The post-hunt beer is always a good one.
I wouldn't call it a ritual, but opening morning, it's the beginning of the season that you can start hunting. For gun season for deer, we just get a bunch of guys up at my deer camp, and we have certain traditions, like we'll place bets on how many shots are going to be fired that day. It's just stuff to keep it interesting. But yeah.
My personal favorite thing is going ice fishing. We get all of our friends together and just have a good time on the ice. We throw a good dip in, crack a couple beers, sit there with our rods in our hands, jigging, tip ups. That's the best part about it.
Just last weekend, actually. Every year we go up to our cabin. We have 40 acres up north, and it's basically a family. Bunch of family relatives come up and a couple friends. In this case, my roommate Matt came up last weekend. It's opening weekend of deer season, and we drive up there. Always eat good, get to see get to see the family and try to shoot a big buck. And unfortunately, it didn't happen last weekend. But half the experience of being up there is just being with family and enjoying the time. And I'd say that's probably our biggest ritual.
I guess with people that within my family, we kind of do. I know in Wisconsin in general, for a lot of hunters, the opening weekend of deer hunting season for gun is a big ritual. Everybody goes to camp and meets at the same place every year for the same number of years, and there's a lot of individual rituals that entail with that. But I think that outdoorsmen in general, whether that be hunting or fishing or camping, I think they're superstitious, ritual-oriented people. They like to do the same things, have the same products, and I definitely think that's accurate.
When I go fishing with my friends, just making fun of the person that catches the smallest fish or the person that doesn't catch a fish at all, I guess.
I mean, we always go on a family fishing trip every year. It's a great way to get all the family together, spend a week up in the woods, and that's what a lot of hunting and fishing is camaraderie with your friends and your family, and just spending a lot of time together away from the rest of the world, just with nature, really.
Getting some McDonald's before you go out.
Oh, yeah.
Early in the morning. Gotta do it.
I definitely think the more amount of people that are outdoorsmen, the better. As John said before, when you're an outdoorsman or outdoorswoman, I mean, you really do grow a respect for Mother Nature, and you really want to take care of it, and you really appreciate, the outdoors and what Mother Nature and what we have on this earth, and you really become more conscious of the stuff you do as far as recycling and taking out trash and not littering. And I think it's definitely something that everyone can really enjoy, and something you can bond with your parents and such like that. And I think it's a great activity for people.
Personally, for me, I think there needs to be some sort of a balance. It's kind of what the DNR does now. Population of animals gets too low or too high, you get more or less tags that way. So if a lot of people start becoming hunters and outdoors people like that, then it's less likely that you're going to be able to do what you enjoy and stuff like that. So I think that don't just become an outdoors person because of the stereotypes or you think it sounds fun. Become one because you generally enjoy nature and being outside.
Being in Wisconsin, I say that there's a lot of outdoors people. It's kind of up to the people themselves. If they want to, they can be. If they don't want to, they don't need to. It's really up to personal preference.
I think for me personally, the less is better, because then the less people fish the lakes that I go to and hunt. But I think it's a very positive thing for people to be involved with, because I think there's a lot more positives with it than there are negatives.
I think more people. I think it's beneficial to everybody to be outdoorsy. If you're willing to go out, I mean, it totally tells. You could tell a person by their personality and stuff like that. Where, like, if you're an outdoorsman, obviously you're not afraid to get your hands dirty, and I wouldn't say blue collar, but you're definitely willing to live a different lifestyle than people that aren't outdoorsy.
Definitely more. I mean, it's like anything else. New members are the lifeblood of anything really. I mean, if you don't have new people doing it, it's gonna die off. And not only if hunting was to go by the wayside and become less and less mainstream and whatnot, not only would it hurt the animal populations because of the money that wouldn't be spent on their habitat and the populations being not kept in check, but I think it would just be bad for humanity because if you're not in touch with your food and where you belong on the food chain and stuff like that, then that's just unhealthy. If you're not okay with killing something yourself, then you shouldn't be eating it in the first place. You're just paying a hitman to kill your animals for you and wrap them up. And if you're not okay with doing that yourself, then you shouldn't be eating them in the first place.
I think I don't really have an opinion as to whether there should be more or less. I think that the people who are should certainly encourage others and educate others on it. Whether that means you have to actively participate in it is your own personal choice. But I think just maintaining the practices and educating other people is what's the most important, and whether that means there's more people or less people, I don't think it's a huge issue. But as long as the numbers stay steady or increase, that I think that's better.
Absolutely, there will always be hunting and fishing around. Agreed.
I'd say worse because of gun control rights. People are just trying to take away guns, and without guns, you can't really hunt.
I would say it looks pretty good. I mean, there's some political things going on. For me, I'm a Wisconsin outdoorsman, where they're cutting a lot of public land, so things like that might impact the future of it. But for the most part, I think it's a pretty bright future because the DNR, although there's very controversial some of the decisions they make, I think they do an overall good job of protecting the lakes and making sure that they can be enjoyed for future uses.
There's a lot of politics in outdoors, and a lot of things there's a lot of rules that are trying to be changed around today's day and age dealing with outdoors, whether it's gun control laws or laws on specific animals you can hunt or specific amount of fish you could catch. As of right now, I think the outdoors, for me personally, looks to be about the same as it has in years past. Not much is really changing. There's a lot of political movements going on right now, but nothing has really taken shape or happened yet. So maybe in the future it'll go downhill, but as of right now, no, I don't see anything. I don't see anything wrong going for outdoors.
I think it really depends on our generation and having more people get interested in hunting and fishing, and that's the key, is the young people who will bring up the next generation and teach their kids how to hunt and fish and enjoy what God's given us in nature.
I think every day I see something that makes me think one way or the other. Sometimes I see something on Facebook or whatnot of like, oh, look, we took all these kids out and whatnot, and other times I see numbers that it's falling or decreasing, but then you also see stuff about how like a lot of the urban people now are into the knowing where your food came from movement. So it's hard to say, it goes back and forth, but I think the most important thing to do is if you have someone who might be interested in hunting or fishing, take them out with you. I mean, you don't have to take them to your secret spot or whatnot, but put them on the fish, put them on the deer, put them, because you don't need to sell anybody on hunting and fishing. Once they get the experience, 90% of the time they're going to want to go out and do it again because it's primal. It's something that you're meant to do. So you don't have to sell it to anybody. They'll want to do it if you take them out and give them the chance.
Yeah, there's no better feeling than catching a big fish or putting a deer down or killing a bird that you're going to be able to eat yourself. It's a good feeling.
I think it really depends on our leadership, whether that be in the Department of Natural Resources or politicians. I think the less intervention from Washington, the better. In a lot of outdoors cases, I think that should be handled by each individual state's needs, and they should hire the best people possible in the Department of Natural Resources to be able to identify issues with, whether that be with, especially in Wisconsin, I can think of like deer harvest numbers and like management policies, and like with fishing, like with the walleye issues that are going on up north, especially with the cultural issues between Native Americans and people who live there. That's a whole other story, but I think it definitely is something that needs to be managed at a more local level, the better.
Yeah. I think they do a pretty good job, though.
I feel like in recent years, funds that the DNR has received, they don't have much to work with. And if we bring attention back to that, I feel like we can get our DNR, our whole outdoorsman program around the state, since DNR is a state-run program. If we bring more attention to that, I feel like we can improve the quality of our DNR and thus improve the recreational experiences that we have outdoors that Wisconsin is so well known for, that are like hunting and fishing and camping.
Yes. Yeah, I would argue that they should definitely protect those lands.
I would say so, but I already say that they're doing a pretty good job of it. The amount of tags that they put out limits how many deer you can harvest, and it controls the population very well with the seasons that you can do it. It doesn't. The way that they time it out is that you're not killing pregnant deer, you're not harming the population in that sense. But poachers are always an issue, people who illegally harvest animals.
Love of nature.
Yeah.
It's fun. Nature's beautiful. Just get out and enjoy it.
I would say just to take a break from, you know, the everyday grind that you go through, you know, especially with all of us in college right now. You know, maybe studying can get to you sometimes, and you know, every one of us has, like, you know, their quote unquote happy place where they want to go, you know, just to unwind and relax. And for me, you know, I started hunting when I was 12, and ever since I started hunting, you know, getting up north and, you know, sitting in a tree stand has been my idea of getting away from everything and really kind of, you know, recharging the batteries so that I can deal with the daily grinds of college and, you know, being an accounting major. I feel like getting up north is a good way of, you know, really getting away from everything and thinking about your life, so that when you come back to, you know, college or whatever situation you're in, you're able to handle it in a good manner.
I just think that people who don't partake in it don't understand that it's not about the catching or the catching and killing of a fish, or it's not about the, I don't know, hooking a fish and getting enjoyment from that, you know, from that, and it's not about the killing of an animal. It's about the, like I said before, it's about the camaraderie and the. I just think being in touch with nature itself is a healing experience, you know, mind, body, and soul, and I wholeheartedly believe that. That's probably the best benefit.
If your friends are into outdoors stuff, I would recommend getting yourself into outdoors stuff, because you'll form a bond with them and be able to, like, relate more to them on certain topics when certain conversations come up. You just learn more about dealing with nature just by being outdoors, and I don't know. I feel like if you're out camping sometime, or if you're stranded somewhere, if you have more of an outdoors mentality, you're probably going to be more beneficial, for the simple fact that you're going to know ways to stay warm and stuff like that. And I just feel like by becoming more outdoorsy and learning more stuff about nature and the outdoors, there's not really any harm it could do to your social lifestyle besides benefiting you.
It depends. I mean, what you like. If you like adventures, you like exploring new situations that you haven't been, you know, familiar with. If you really like, I mean, if you don't like killing animals, then no, it's not going to be your thing. I would say do it because you'll be a badass.
Just get outside, get away from the modern world technology, and just really get out there and decompress and relax and enjoy what nature is out there.
I would think that the most important thing, the one thing that I would use to sell someone on hunting or fishing is just the aspect of the relaxation and how you can make it anything you want. If you want it to be, you go up north with your family during deer camp and you hunt 3 days out of the year, and it's more of a reunion than anything else, you can make it that way. If you want it to be like a sport where you're out there, you know, 3 days a week, checking trail cameras, seeing where they're moving, or fishing for tournaments for money. I mean, or you could go down to the end of the dock and throw a bobber in there with your little kid. I mean, it's like anything else. You get it. What you put in is what you get out, and there's all sorts of different levels of commitment.